Welcome back to KOA on Hot Talk, 1080 AM, 95.1 FM, The Joe Miller Show. We're going to talk about the looming war with Iran. Article by Colonel Tom Snodgrass, retired. He's been on this show before. An expert in the area. He retired, I think it was after his retirement from USAF. He served over a year. Well, actually, Tom, I guess you can tell us. But you served a year in Peshawar, Pakistan.
Oh, no, that
was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was at the beginning of my tour.
Right.
And, or my career. But,
Pakistani military intelligence. You were in Vietnam. You scheduled intelligent collection aircraft, U.S. Army and Air Force. You also were an attaché behind the Iron Curtain in Warsaw, Poland. And in total, you were an intelligence officer or an international politico-military affairs officer serving tours in 7 foreign countries, as well as teaching military history and strategy at Air War College, U.S. Air Force Academy, and USAF Special Operations School during a 30-year military career. Again, Colonel Snodgrass, thank you for being on the show. Welcome back.
Well, thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure to come back and talk to you and your audience.
And it's a particularly appropriate time, given what just was announced today, the deal with Iran. I don't think the fact that the deal happened surprised anyone, given the numerous statements out of the administration basically preparing us for this. What's your assessment of the deal?
It's purely a political ploy to keep the heat off of Obama domestically. There's nothing in it that is going to stop the Iranians one way or another. They are bound and determined to get a nuclear weapon. And the proof of that is in there, as I put in the article, is they put so many resources into ballistic missiles. Ballistic missiles make no sense unless they're mated to nuclear warheads.
And of course, their primary targets, at least according to what you would think, given kind of the regional issues, would be those adjoining or maybe nations, set one nation apart from them, where ballistic missiles aren't even a real necessity. They could probably accomplish most of their military aims with Scud-type missiles, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, which is a ballistic missile of sort. A short range, but
right.
Yeah, they have both. They have the largest inventory of missiles, short and medium, and they're working on the long range to get to us.
How does their technology compare to, say, the North Koreans?
Probably about comparable. They share. In fact, I firmly believe that the North Koreans are doing a lot of subcontract work for them.
And in fact, they were both involved in the nuclear facility that was bombed in Syria a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
This article that you put out, The Looming War with Iran, very interesting article. One of the first things that you talk about in this article is in understanding Iran, you can't do that unless you understand 12er Shia Islam. Tell our listeners what you mean by that, why it's important.
Well, sure, if I got a couple hours. No.
That's your task, to boil it down into a listening segment.
Well, the driving force of Shia Islam is to gain the upper hand over the other half of Islam, or actually 80% of Islam, the Sunnis. And they are really an apocalyptic sect, and they take a view that the end of the world, the end times, is where they are going to triumph and they are going to come out on top. And they have this really bizarre religious belief that the 12 imams, which are descended from Muhammad, the last one was seen 10 centuries ago, and he is in occultation, in hiding. In hiding.
Okay.
He's disappeared, and in fact, Ahmadinejad believed he was in the bottom of a well in Qum, which is their holy city.
Right. Ahmadinejad, the former president, at least right now, not in power, right?
No, but that he's just Ahmadinejad is a good example, though, of the more fanatical belief in Shia and 12er Islam, because he really believes that the return of this occulted imam, the Mahdi, as he's called, is going to occasion world war, and it's going to 2/3 of the population of Earth are going to be destroyed either by plague or war, and the end of result of all this is that the Shia Twelvers are going to emerge as the victors in all of this. So it makes sense that and what he believes is that you can hurry or increase the time or decrease the time that for the Mahdi to come back by creating chaotic, catastrophic world conditions. And what better way than with a nuclear weapon?
So, are there any? Of course, Ahmadinejad no longer in power. Are there any Twelvers that are currently in power in Iran today?
Oh, the whole shooting match is our Twelvers. I mean,
Wow.
you don't get to the what they call the supreme leader, the successor of Ayatollah Khomeini is Khomeini, and he is a Twelver. I mean, his whole being is about bringing about the return of the Mahdi. And so the idea that these people are operating from the same perspective that we have of even of empire or even of the old imperial model is just not right. They really are a religiously dominated society. Now, I'm not saying the whole society. There's obviously a lot of people who have had Western educations and so forth, and don't believe in all this. But the people who control the power are those who believe.
And so, I mean, as far as the nuclear program goes in Iran, I mean, do you believe that its genesis, it was really born in this Twelver fanaticism that we're going to bring about cataclysm and accelerate the timeline, and we're going to do it in part by introducing nuclear weapons, maybe even detonating them? Is that part of the theory?
Well, actually, the Iranian nuclear program was started in the 1950s in conjunction with Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace program. So we gave them technical assistance actually to begin the nuclear research and so forth.
So that was under the Shah of Iran. It was for energy production. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
So they were going to have a peaceful program, and then the Shah, when he was overthrown in '79, actually the Twelvers, they had so much on their hands by that time when Saddam went to war with them from '80 to '88 that the program was just put on hold, and it wasn't until I think probably around '86, '87 that it was restarted, and with the idea that maybe they were going to have to do something about Saddam if they didn't, if they didn't get that war stopped sooner or later. But anyway, they began, and then the Soviets, the old Soviet Union, and the Chinese Communists came in, pledged support to them, and that really was what reinvigorated and revitalized their nuclear program. So it started in the late 80s, it went through the 90s, and then early in, I think it was about 2003 or 2002, that we accused them of diverging from peaceful research to weapons research. And then it's just been, so ever since that time, it's been on and off. It's been an issue that's heated up and hit the press and then cooled down and gone away.
Right.
And
so the genesis probably, I mean, the initial nuclear program, peaceful, potentially energy production, but then kind of weaponized potentially to address the Iraqi conflict, and then, of course, now taken to another level. We'll talk more about that. Looming war with Iran. More with Colonel Tom Snodgrass after these messages. Welcome back to KOAN Hot Talk, 1080 AM, 95.1 FM, The Joe Miller Show. We have with us Colonel Tom Snodgrass. He was an intelligence officer, international political military affairs officer, serving duty tours in 7 foreign countries. He's taught military history and strategy at the Air War College, U.S. Air Force Academy, USAF Special Operations School. During a 30-year military career, he's been following what's going on in Iran. He's been involved behind the Iron Curtain when it was up, Warsaw, Poland. As a military attaché there, U.S. Air Attaché. Been involved, Vietnam vet, been in Peshawar, Pakistan. He knows what he's talking about. Thank you, Colonel Snodgrass, for staying with us.
Well, it's my pleasure, Joe.
And by the way, if any listeners out there want to call in, ask any questions, 569-1080. If you're live streaming, area code 907 outside of Anchorage. We've been talking about Iran, 12er Shia Islam, the fact that, according to your theory, there is a looming war with Iran. I want to talk a little more about the theological motivation of the Iranian leadership. There's a lot of people, a lot of my friends, libertarian friends, that just think that if America would take a hands-off approach to many Islamic countries, Iran, of course, not Arabic, but a Persian country, likewise, we just took a hands-off approach, if we were just nicer, if we weren't trying to dominate, that these countries would just get along with us. Of course, your theory about the theology of the country doesn't allow for that, does it?
No, it doesn't. Well, first of all, the entire religion of Islam has got a chip on its shoulder. I mean, it cannot exist except as an underdog that is constantly in conflict with the other. The other could be Christians, Jews, Hindus. In India, everybody is the other for them, and so they need conflict to exist. And then if you go drill down deeper and go into the Shia sect of Islam, they feel even more oppressed because they are about 20% roughly of the Muslim population worldwide, as opposed to the Sunnis, which are 80%. But they have been at war, and they are attempting to wrest the control of Islam, the appeal to the worldwide community called the Ummah, to assert themselves and put their sect into a leadership position. And the way they envision doing this really is through end times type of situation, what we would have called Armageddon, where the world goes into crisis and people are thrown up into crisis, and then eventually their savior, the Mahdi, the 12th Imam, will appear and lead the Shia sect to victory.
Clear back, some of our younger listeners probably don't recall this, but when we had the American hostages, the crisis there in Iran during the Carter administration, Reagan gets elected, immediately they're freed. They recognized that lots of force and power is coming down. That was my theory. They knew that Reagan wasn't going to take it sitting down, so they knew they better let go of the hostages. But at that time, I remember seeing across TV screens every time that I turned on the news about Iran, you'd be hearing these chants, death to America. Since then, I've heard it innumerable times. It seems that there's still that kind of an attitude out there. You hear America described by official mouthpieces of the Iranian government at one time or another as the big Satan, Israel the little Satan. Is this just all hyperbole? Is it there to generate animosity or support for animosity toward the United States or Israel, support for the Iranian regime? Are these really deeply held views? I mean, are they true statements, if you will?
Well, I go back to what I said before, that Islam cannot exist without an enemy. They have to have an enemy in order to give meaning to, because the whole Quran is nothing but a mandate for war, and so you have to go to war against those who don't believe as you believe, and therefore they view the United States. The reason we're the great Satan is because in their heart of hearts, in the true believer, we are the main impediment to Islam, to the spread of Islam worldwide. It's our culture, it's our economics, it's our military, and all these things have combined. And so this makes us the target. So when they say "Death to America," that is a religious chant that is coming from right at the core of the religion. And since Israel is the little Satan, they are the impediment, the immediate impediment in the Middle East. So when, we go together, yeah.
So when Netanyahu views Iran as an existential threat, he must understand the threat far better than Obama, because Obama doesn't seem to see Iran as a threat at all to the United States.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I think that this is just my opinion. I'm not Jewish. I have, like everybody, I have Jewish friends, but that's a joke. I think that the Jewish people know full well what is in the heart of Muslims for them, and the reason that they must get along, though, it's like, you know, when you have bad neighbors. I mean, you just don't try to antagonize them, you know, by telling them, you're living like pigs or something like that. So I think they have a go along, get along type attitude as far as they can. But then there comes a point where they realize that it is existential and that these people are dead serious to eliminate them.
So when we talk about the dead seriousness to eliminate Israel, obviously there's got to be some capability that goes along with that. You know quite a bit about the ballistic missile program that Iran has. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Iran's strategic capability with respect to its missiles and potentially, if they have nuclear weapons, the delivery systems that would go along with them?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned earlier they had the Scud vehicles from, and most of their missile technology is of Soviet origin, or the North Koreans took the Soviet origin missiles and made modifications, so they have those modifications and so forth. And they've taken this, and of course the problem with a ballistic missile is really accuracy. Until we have gotten this satellite capability orbiting and the geospatial
GPS.
GPS. That missiles were just. I mean, once you fire it, you really didn't know where it was going to come down. And just look at the V2s. I mean, they aimed at London, and
right.
So the problem is this accuracy question. And if you're going a long distance, you really have a problem in terms of, okay, I want to hit this power plant, or I want to hit this military installation or whatever. Well, even the Soviets in the 60s, with their technology, they might be 10 miles away when it came down. So,
right.
The solution to this is what they called, what the Soviets came up with in the late 60s was what they called the Fractional Orbital Bombardment System, or FOBS. And what you do is you launch a nuclear weapon inside a satellite, if you will, and if you actually launch it over the South Pole, it's going to come in a way that the old NORAD north-looking radars aren't going to see, and so you won't even know it's coming. The idea is that it's a fractional orbital system, and it gets around about halfway around the world on an orbit, and then the Soviets would bring it down. They were going to do more of a ground attack type of approach, but now with this discovery of the electromagnetic pulse capability and the ability to just fry all your electronics within reach of the gamma rays, that it would just be able to you could just launch it detonated over the United States, in Kansas or wherever, and you're going to reach a tremendous. They indicate that over Kansas you would get you would reach total continental United States.
Amazing. So the accuracy issues, the delivery issues are greatly simplified with an EMP. And isn't it true that just recently there was some sort of statement from an Iranian general about the intent to continue to develop EMP weapons for use against the United States?
Yes, and they have admitted that. I mean, everything they say is so contradictory. We're not going to develop nuclear weapons, and then on the other hand, you have this guy talking about using EMPs, which is right. It's a nuclear detonation. I mean, you can create EMP other ways electrically, but you really can't create a weapon without nuclear detonation.
So we just have a few minutes left. War with Iran, inevitable, likely? What's your conclusion here?
My conclusion is inevitable, because without a change of leadership in Iran, without a change of perspective of where they're going, they are on a course, to fulfill the eschatology of Shiite Twelverism, and that is, an apocalyptic war. And of course, you launch a few EMPs over Europe and over the United States, and you have really created a apocalyptic situation, because the power grids are just going to be are gone, and so it would all be local generation of electricity from there.
So war with Iran, inevitable. I mean, is there a way, if we can get an intervening administration in that has better reality about Iran, to stop this, to get us back on the right track to avoid it?
If they really, our biggest problem with Islam is our lack of will. They don't. If the opposing side doesn't believe that you believe in yourself, you're not going to be able to convince them to not attack you or not take actions that are going to impinge on your national interests. So if we had an administration that would come to power that the Iranian, something like the Reagan administration coming back, that the Iranians would believe that yes, they really are subject to attack and retaliation. But right now, they believe that they're going to get the first licks in, I believe.
Yep, they got a puffball in office. I appreciate it. Colonel Snodgrass, he's an expert telling us about Iran, what the future holds. It's a dangerous future, especially given the bad deal Obama just concluded with Iran. Colonel Snodgrass, I'm sure we'll have you back. Thanks for taking the time with us on The Joe Miller Show.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Joe. Best to you.
Stay with us. The Joe Miller Show. Be back with you in a few.